Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 12th day of June 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had an enjoyable, restful evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, operating any type of motorized vehicle, we again urge you to please be extremely cautious. We had some rain yesterday, and of course, you know, when it is raining, the roads become even much more treacherous, and you have to ensure that you adjust your driving to suit the road conditions as well. And we saw yesterday where there was a motor vehicle accident near the Grand Harbor roundabout. It appears as if a vehicle traveling west crossed over into the eastbound lane, and there was a collision with another vehicle. Not sure of the conditions of the occupants, but we hope and we trust that they're safe, or if they're injured, that they will make a full recovery as well. So it is extremely important for us to be cautious on the roads. We're seeing more speeding. There are more vehicles on the roads of the Cayman Islands now as well, now that some of the restrictions have been relaxed as far as the attempt to suppress COVID-19 in the Cayman Islands. So we're seeing more activity on the roads of the Cayman Islands, which means that you have to be even more cautious, even more alert as well. For those of you who have lost loved ones over the past few days or weeks, we want to extend our sincerest condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. Those of you celebrating a birthday, we want to wish you a happy birthday today, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday, or if you're going to celebrate one over the weekend as well, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Bearing in mind that Monday is a holiday, so there will be no For the Record on Monday morning. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working elsewhere. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and the management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that time, our phone lines are always open. This morning, again, that radio voice of Mr. Paul Akal. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at for the record, one word, for the record at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. You can leave us a text message, send us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, if you just want to watch, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. We have no guests in the studio with us yet, but this morning after the 8 o'clock news, we will be connecting with Dr. Steve McPhail, and we will talk about several topics, anything that he may want to talk about. But we're also going to talk about what's happening throughout the world in relation to the fight against racial injustice. We're going to talk about the situation in the Cayman Islands. We want to talk about how, in many instances, we seem to be behind the times when it comes to recognition of racial injustice, racial prejudice. I would go even further to say that sometimes we bury our head. We have done that in the past, and we probably continue to do it. Bury our head in the sand and pretend that A, it never happened in the Cayman Islands, and B, that it still does not occur in the Cayman Islands. And for those of you who have not yet had that rude awakening that it is occurring in the Cayman Islands, that it may not be as obvious and overt, but it was here, and it is probably still here in a different form as well. Whether that be in the form of neo-colonialism, whether or not it's in the form of the fact that sometimes we don't realize it. There's a saying and that Harriet Tubman, the conductor of the Underground Railroad in the United States during slavery, said that she freed 1,000 slaves, but she could have freed thousands more had they realized that they were slaves. So maybe some of us find ourselves in the Cayman Islands where we're as such. But we will talk with Dr. Steve McPhail about that. He knows a lot. He's documented a lot of it as well. And one of the things that I'd like to mention also, and this one might become controversial, not to say that what I've said before won't become controversial as well, but we see throughout the U.S. where the tearing down of Confederate statutes, we see in the UK the tearing down of statutes. The first one, I think, was a gentleman by the name of Thomas Colston, I believe, and he was involved in the slave trade and benefited from it. And of course, many of these people who were involved in the slave trade, they were benefactors to various causes in the United Kingdom and in their countries, and had hospitals named after them, squares named after them, all sorts of things. So we see it happening in the UK as well, and there's a list out that they've basically listed which ones are going to come down, including the one of Lord Baden-Powell, founder of the Scouts movement. What they have done in Swansea was to put 24-hour guards around that, and their intent is to move it until they figure that the situation has subsided and they will re-erect it. But there's a list out there in terms of it. I'm saying all that to say that we have heard talk in the past in the Cayman Islands about a slave wall in the Cayman Islands, slave walls. And I think most of them are located in the Eastern District, Bordentown. I'm not sure if there's one in East End as well, and maybe someone can enlighten me on that. I don't know whether or not the tour packages that we have in the Cayman Islands for locals as well as tourists allow whether or not we advertise these slave walls as attractions. And if we do, then should we in the Cayman Islands consider what should be done there? Do we want to continue to glorify slavery to the extent that if we advertise a wall that was built by slaves in the Cayman Islands still exists, and here it is? And some people will say, well, it's a part of our history. Why do we wish to deny it? It's not a question of denying it. It's the question of, do we want to continue to glorify it and to give it legitimacy that it shouldn't have? So maybe we may want to talk about that. We may want to talk about the Windrush generation in the UK. We may want to talk about the UK's refusal to a certain extent to apologize for slavery, for what they have done as far as slavery is concerned as well. So some of you may not want to talk about it. Some of you may not want to listen to it. And in a democratic society, that will be your choice. But ask yourself the question, why, when the whole world is up in arms about racial injustice, we here in the Cayman Islands are so quiet about it? We see in Bermuda, where the new appointment as the Consul General they're having protests. They have something, signature going around. I forget how many signatures that they have on that. Lots of signatures, not wanting that gentleman to come there because of his past. We don't have a U.S. consul here in the Cayman Islands, so we don't have a need for that. But are we in solidarity with others, and are we prepared to talk about our checkered history in relation to race and slavery in the Cayman Islands? So that's what we're going to be talking with Dr. Steve McField, amongst other things. And that doesn't prevent you from calling in and talking about other things if you so wish as well. Before we go to our first commercial break, I just want to share with you the results in relation to COVID-19 testing. 11th of June 2020, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee, reports 556 COVID-19 tests, which were carried out since the press briefing on Tuesday. Out of those 556 results, there were 6 positives. They're all assumed to be locally acquired cases, and the persons are asymptomatic and were picked up through screening, and contact tracing has already started as well. So as we continue to see, the virus is still out there, more in asymptomatic cases. We expect to see positive numbers as long as we continue to test, but at least we're getting information that informs the relevant authorities, those in the medical field and otherwise, as to the situation in the Cayman Islands, and informs them as to the direction that we should take in that regard as well. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Captain Vincent Garvin, 1917-1995. Captain Vincent Garvin attained the position of Master Mariner at the age of 32. He was a long-time merchant marine captain who provided jobs for many Caymanians and sailed until he was in his 70s. He was married for 50 years to Ernette and Nella Nee Ebanks, and the two had 3 children. He was a loving father and family man who also raised his wife's niece and nephews. Captain Vincent was known for his generosity. He always sent clothing and toys not only to his own children, but to many others in the Mount Pleasant community. He was also respected by his crew for giving to the poor in foreign countries to which he sailed. Tragically, he was murdered only 6 years after retiring from sea.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Even in this time of uncertainty, time of challenge, we adapt to change, making good on opportunity, clearing a path of continuity. Our children, our students, seek to further learning confined at home. Our teachers reach out and teach, furthering scholarship, their classrooms scattered far and wide, using technology, bridging distance. That's why Rotary Central joined the AlphaSoft initiative, sponsoring a first batch of 297 of the 600 laptops needed for students in need, students who would be absent from school without a laptop. $7,000 dedicated to the purchase of laptops benefiting children at John Gray High, children at Sir John A. Cumber Primary in West Bay, Rotary Central, and the AlphaSoft initiative, taking care of children who want to learn. Our children, their future, more secure. Rotary, connecting the world.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
The Wharf Restaurant is back open to the public. After donating over 20,000 meals during the lockdown, we are energized and proud to have been able to help. Book your waterfront reservations today and enjoy live music while watching the sunset on our spacious and breezy terrace. The Wharf has fresh fish and fresh local produce options every day, as well as an extensive wine list. We are family and kid-friendly with a kids menu and tarpon feeding every night. We are looking forward to welcoming you back. Call 949-2231 to book your table today at the Wharf.
Obey the laws and wear the gauze. Protect your jaws from septic paws. Stay clean, K-Man. Reflection sells hand sanitizer from $2.99. 10 surgical masks are only $9.99. And the best KN95 masks from only $3.30. Volume discounts available at all 5 Liquor for Less locations. Shedden Road, North Church Street, Savannah, Northside, and the McClendon Drive Airport location. Don't miss the Liquor for Less incredible lockdown price markdowns. Hundreds of fine from $2.99. Cases of ice cold below wholesale prices. Save $9 off liters of. Enjoy our manager specials exclusively at Liquor for Less. Prices so low, we can't say them on the radio. Liquor for Less enforces the wearing of masks, social distancing, and preventative measures to help stop the spread of COVID-19, such as consistent hand washing and only leaving home for essential purposes.
All residents are asked to stay at home unless you have permission to work, have to go to a medical facility, pharmacy, bank, or supermarket. If you must go out, remember to stay at least 6 feet from other persons who are not members of your household. This reduces the risk of transmission whether or not a person with coronavirus is showing symptoms. Everyone must wear face masks or other face coverings while taking public transportation, inside buildings, or other public spaces. For more information and to view the new regulations in full, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. We will be linking up with Dr. Steve McPhail at after the 8 o'clock news to talk about various issues, but we want to talk about racial injustice in the Cayman Islands, or reluctance to talk about it, and despite the fact that it has been documented, and we know that Dr. Steve McPhail does an enormous amount of research, and so he knows quite a bit about it. Not only that, I'm sure that he experienced it himself. I certainly, experienced it, and I've spoken about that before, and I'll speak about it again if need be. One of our listeners who called in, but they didn't stay on the line, they wanted to talk about, or they mentioned the fact that there's a song that's played on radio in the Cayman Islands. And I mentioned it on my show on several occasions before, may have been quite a while, sung by Barefoot Man. And I think the title, I'm not sure if this is the title, but it talks about, a woman, black like a ching-ching, oh, but she's sweet. Now, if that isn't racism, then what is racism? But we continue to play that song on radio in the Cayman Islands for entertainment purposes. That song should be banned. Talk about, we have a Bill of Rights in the Cayman Islands. In our Constitution, we have a Bill of Rights. It talks about discrimination. That song, that is racism in its ugliest form. And that song should be banned. My situation, and I only found out about this later on, and I'm not sure what my reaction would have been, because at that time I was in my 30s. In my 30s and a little hot-headed. I don't have enough time to relate that. Now, I'll do that when Dr. Steve McField, when we get him on, I'll talk more about that, because we do have a caller, and we only have about 4 minutes left before we go to the news, so we're going to take the caller first. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Lucy. I hope you're having a good morning.
Good morning. Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am. You can hear that.
Yeah, man. Anyway, that's a good subject to discuss, because a lot of people don't want to admit it, but there is that social prejudice in Cayman, But what I would love to one of your shows, I know you don't discuss it today, but one of the shows that I would
Sure, yeah, we're hearing you.
One of the things that I would love you to discuss on the radio sometime. You remember the Ironwood project, the big to-do we made about that, and it was going to do this, and we're going to have a golf course.
Yes.
Farmer was coming down and all that.
Yes.
What happened to that?
Good. That's a good question. That's a good question.
And remember, we gave, I forget how many millions of dollars in concessions, even before they put one brick in the ground or one block in the ground.
Mm-hmm. But, of course, those concessions can only be realized if something happens. Let's say, for instance, unless they're using that as a loophole, to do other things.
That's my question. And the other thing is, if somebody's going to give, you're going to go, yes, you can say to that group, we are willing to give you this, but why are you going to make this big advertisement about how much money you gave them for concessions? Wait until they get the job started, and then you can say, they start employing Caymanians, and we think them, this is what happened to Cayman today. We got people in government who are, because I guarantee you, OC, that there are people who are run or get in office, and the minute they step foot in that, whatever their position is in government, their focus is on the next election. How can I get back in the next election? It's easy money, and nobody seems to care. The public do talk about it, but OC, our politicians have some of the highest paid people in the world, for politics. And let me tell you this, that it's my belief that a lot of these companies that you see coming in here, these companies are the ones that when election comes around, that they put hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for these people to get back in. They put their money out there, and oh, Lord Jesus, this island is so corrupt. It is so corrupt. Oh, see, I pray each day that God would do something, bless us, but I don't know what's going to happen. But I tell you, we can't survive in a good manner if we continue to do what we're doing. But I just wanted to say that these are things that bother me.
Certainly.
When I hear these things about the Ironwood project and this project, it bothers me.
Yep. Well, caller, what it goes to show you is that we have so many snake oil salesmen out there and everyone is going to government, going to ministers with a plan to do something, and it all has to do with them, not the ministers, but with the person who's approaching the minister with making money. And in most instances, the way that they're going to make money is either through investors by saying, oh, we're going to be doing this project in the Cayman Islands and getting investors to do so, or like you say, trying to get concessions from government to begin with. What the government has to do and ensure that they do is that they do not, any concessions that are given have to be tied with the project, so nothing, comes before then. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
And if we can do that, and we'll see, the thing is that bothers me now.
Okay, we're at the 8 o'clock news. Sorry, I have to interrupt you now because we're gone past 8 o'clock. But please feel free to call in when we have Dr. Steve McField on the line as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Radio Cayman time check is now 8 a.m. This time check is brought to you by our friends at Foster's.
We've made it even easier for you to fill or refill your prescription by messaging our pharmacists on WhatsApp. Simply send us a photo of your prescription, we'll prepare it, and on arrival, you'll just need to have your original prescription for verification. You can even have a refill processed by sending us your prescription number. WhatsApp Foster's Airport Pharmacy at 926-7485 or Camana Bay at 926-7486. For more information, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. We are here for you. Whether you are in extreme financial need, have lost your job, have been directly or indirectly affected by the pandemic, we are here. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan is here to assist through the Cayman Islands Government Emergency Withdrawal Program. To withdraw, visit chamberpension.ky and complete the online application form by filling in your personal details, the amount you wish to withdraw, and upload a notarized government ID such as your passport or driver's license. For information as it happens, visit chamberpension.ky or follow our social media pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We thank you for your patience as we address the high volume of email and phone queries. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. You can count on us.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With a look at Radio Cayman's morning news, I'm Dion Anglin. Employers whose work permits expired since the shelter-in-place orders came into effect on March 27th are now required to apply for a renewal by June 30th, 2020 to be in compliance with the law.
The original deadline for employers of 31st of May has been extended following consultation with private sector stakeholders, including the Chamber of Commerce.
Premier McLaughlin also noted there have been a number of issues with temporary work permits.
And so the government has issued a directive to the Director of Work to extend the validity period of temporary work permits held by construction companies and by small and micro businesses, domestic helpers and caregivers for a period of 10 weeks.
He says this reflects time lost during the shelter-in-place order. It applies to work permits that were valid as of March 27th, 2020. In other local news.
So we were really pleased when the Corporate Sponsorship Committee at DART, as well as the owners of the Great House condominiums here on the West Bay Road, were kind enough to lend us a hand with some of the responsibilities we have in terms of taking care of our heritage sites.
Historic Programs Manager Stuart Wilson says this donation will go towards many of the functions for the National Trust for the Cayman Islands Historic Program.
The donation is going to mean that we're able to affect areas of maintenance as well as certain types of upkeep in terms of insurance. And we also have our virtual tours and virtual cooking classes, which we are seeking to bring back online. The monies will help to assist in getting materials together and hiring artisans and doing other things as well as the general upkeep of the heritage sites themselves.
The Mission House in Boddentown will begin online virtual tours and cooking classes soon, so check the National Trust Facebook page to learn more details and dates for these activities. And last chance to get in on a Cayman Islands Marketing Professionals Association merit-based scholarship. As Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego reports, today is the last day to submit your application for the annual $5,000 scholarship.
The SIMPA merit-based scholarship is open to the Cayman Islands residents between the ages of 16 and 25 who are currently enrolled in an accredited local or online educational institution with a genuine interest in pursuing a career in marketing or other related field. The 2020 SIMPA scholarship application period opened in late April and closes today, June 12th. The process is completely anonymous and applications are evaluated for academic standing, the strength of their personal statement, and responses to short answer questions. For more on sponsorship or applying for the 2020 SIMPA scholarship, you can check out www.simpa.ky. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
Thank you, Shanda. And now for a look at news elsewhere, here's the BBC.
Hello, I'm Aaron Safir with BBC News. The UN is warning that most of its programs in Yemen are in danger of closing in the coming weeks for lack of funds. It said millions of lives are at risk because of a combination of war, diseases including coronavirus, and the funding shortfall. One official said less than half the money pledged for Yemen this month had been received. Prosecutors from northern Italy are questioning Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte in an investigation of how the coronavirus pandemic was handled. Among other things, they're examining whether 2 towns in Lombardy should have been locked down earlier. Police unions in Paris have been staging angry rallies against the French government's response to anti-racism protests. They've highlighted photographs of officers injured on duty and criticised the Interior Ministry for banning use of a chokehold that they say is needed for their protection. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has accused extremists intent on violence of hijacking legitimate anti-racist protests linked to the Black Lives Matter campaign. He condemned attacks on police as well as acts of vandalism against statues. A blast at a mosque in the Afghan capital Kabul has killed at least 4 people and wounded many more. A top diplomat from the United Arab Emirates has warned Israel that annexing Palestinian land in the occupied West Bank would send shockwaves around the region. The UAE's ambassador in Washington said such a move would overturn all Israeli aspirations for more security and improved ties with the Arab world. Shintaro Tsuji, the founder of the Japanese company that created the Hello Kitty cartoon character, is stepping down in favour of his grandson. It's the first change of leadership in the history of the firm, Sanrio. Since making her debut in 1975, the pink-bowed Hello Kitty has adorned everything from bullet trains to handbags.
That'll take us out of Radio Cayman's 8 o'clock morning news. I'm Dion Anglin.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. We are here for you. Whether you are in extreme financial need, have lost your job, have been directly or indirectly affected by the pandemic, we are here. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan is here to assist through the Cayman Islands Government Emergency Withdrawal Program. To withdraw, visit chamberpension.ky and complete the online application form by filling in your personal details, the amount you wish to withdraw, and upload a notarized government ID such as your passport or driver's license. For information as it happens, visit chamberpension.ky or follow our social media pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We thank you for your patience as we address the high volume of email and phone queries. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. You can count on us.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Healthcare Pharmacy cares about your health throughout COVID-19 regulations. Our Grand Harbor location is open from Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Our Governor Square Pharmacy on 7 Mile Beach is open from Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Please ensure you wear a mask when entering our pharmacies and practice safe distancing. Call ahead to refill your prescriptions or go to www.healthcarepharmacy.ky to refill and transfer prescriptions online. You can also WhatsApp your refill or transfer 329-7313.
Home, which should be a haven, can even be less of a safe space during curfew if someone is experiencing child abuse. If you or anyone you know is being abused, help is nearby. For emergencies, call 911. They will redirect your call to the relevant agencies. For general guidelines and inquiries, call the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, MASH, at 1-800-534-2273 or 945-0545. Alternatively, email mash@gov.ky.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky. New stock has just arrived at Super Stitch. Now don't take my word for it. Drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Super Stitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Super Stitch, 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Good morning, my friends. Let's take a look at your latest weather. Compliments of our friends at Super Stitch. Present temperature 84 degrees Fahrenheit, but in the real feel, it feels like about 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Relative humidity now 78%. Last night's low was at 77. Winds are out of the east-northeast at 7 knots. Barometric pressure 29.94 and rising. Wind gusts are now up to 7 knots. Synopsis: light winds and smooth seas are expected over the next 24 hours due to a weak pressure gradient across the northwest Caribbean. Forecast for today: partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will rise to the upper 80s. Winds will be east to northeast, 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. Later on tonight, partly cloudy skies, 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the upper 70s. Winds will be light and variable. Seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. We're at a high tide. Low tide is coming up at 10:18. It's going to be high at 4:43 this afternoon and low at 10:20 tonight. For tomorrow, high tide is at 4:39, low at 11:04 a.m., high at 5:48 p.m. and low at 11:35 p.m. Sunset this evening is at 7:02. Sunrise for tomorrow at 5:48. And the outlook is for similar weather conditions through Saturday night. An increase in cloudiness and showers is expected from Sunday morning as a tropical wave moves across the Western Caribbean. That's your latest weather right here on Radio Cayman.
Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Super Stitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky.
Super Stitch. We are known for our amazing fabrics, top quality tailoring, and dressmaking. But did you know that we also carry trimmings, glitter, sequins, acrylic paints for fabrics and craft, floral wire, glues, markers, foam balls, and assorted ribbons? Yes, we do. You have a do-it-yourself project? Just pop into Super Stitch and see what we have in store for you. There is a craft item for your every need.
My favorite, the beads, glass ones, flat, and even those shell ones.
Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. Emotions are an ever-present, pressing, and sometimes painful force in our lives. When things happen in our life that are out of our control, we can feel helpless, hopeless, and overwhelmed. If you're able to do something to change the situation, then go for it. If there's nothing more that you can do to change it, then try to change your reaction to it. Look for information that you may have missed while you were emotional. Try to understand the other person's point of view. Or, if all else fails, accept that this situation is the current reality, even if it's not what it should be or what we hoped for. It is temporary, and do what you need to do to get through the painful moments. Breathe, pray, listen to music, or seek out support.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning, Cayman. Once again, let's check out our traffic situation. Taking a look, of course, out of the east-west arterial. Traffic heading in the western direction. Good flow. Minimal traffic heading towards the east. Of course, just outside King Sports Center, similar with traffic coming off Shamrock Road, heading onto the Linford Pearson Highway and onto Crew Road. Good flow of traffic heading into Georgetown. West Bay, of course, similar. Nice good flow of traffic along West Bay Road and along the Esley Tibbetts Highway. And taking a look at Shedden Road, and traffic heading in the western direction. Just a little bit of traffic there, but it is moving along. Heading east towards Shedden Road, good. Similar along Eastern Avenue. Walkers Road looking good. Also North Church Street, South Church Street, good flow of traffic. Remember to observe the speed limits. Don't go beyond. Because look what happened yesterday. Couple accidents. So unfortunate. Could have been all avoided if you just kept under the radar. Just observe the speed limits. Your traffic report, of course, brought to you by our friends at Subway.
Subway is helping to keep Cayman safe by limiting store openings and hours, offering curbside pickup and delivery right to your door. With 3 locations currently open to serve you: Anderson Square in Georgetown, Centennial Towers in West Bay, and Countryside Shopping Village in Savannah. Subway is open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on soft curfew days. Free delivery for orders with a minimum $20 purchase. Delivery times only from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. Subway, helping you to enjoy your favorite foods in the safest way possible.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Obey the laws and wear the gauze. Protect your jaws from septic paws. Stay clean, Cayman. Reflection sells hand sanitizer from $2.99. 10 surgical masks are only $9.99. And the best KN95 masks from only $3.30. Volume discounts available at all 5 Liquor for Less locations: Shedden Road, North Church Street, Savannah, Northside, and the McClendon Drive Airport location. Don't miss the Liquor for Less incredible lockdown price markdowns. Hundreds of fine from $2.99. Cases of ice cold below wholesale prices. Save $9 off liters of Enjoy our manager specials exclusively at Liquor for Less. Prices so low,
we can't say them on the radio.
Liquor for Less enforces the wearing of masks, social distancing, and preventative measures to help stop the spread of COVID-19, such as consistent hand washing and only leaving home for essential purposes.
Bring a little bit of luck to your house with Lucky Slice from America. Burgers, steak, and the all-day American breakfast. From Europe, fish and chips, pizza and crepes. And from Asia, sushi.
Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, 7 days a week, delivery or pickup, 10 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. In these difficult times, we can all use a little bit of luck. Keep calm and stay lucky.
Minimize contact. Make your credit card payment by phone. Pay only for food. No delivery fee. No service charge. Certain restrictions apply. Call Lucky Slice Pizza to place your delivery order now. 949-3456.
Order from K-Man Creperie, Mojo Sushi, and Lucky Slice Pizza. Call 949-3456.
Vamped Motors and RBC Royal Bank are making it easy for you to buy your new car or truck. The Spring into Summer Sale at Vamped Motors is going on now with no money down and no monthly payments for up to 12 months on select models only. That's no monthly payments for up to 12 months or until June 2021 on select models only. Offer ends June 30th. Find out how you can drive home the best deal of the year and call Vamped at 949-8288 or email sales@vampedmotors.com.
Helping children cope during this pandemic is important. Remember, dealing with the outbreak calmly provides your child with the best support. Lead by example and take care of your needs too. To support your child, listen and acknowledge their fears and questions. Provide clear information and be aware of your own reactions. Help children by creating new routines, limiting their exposure to media, and encouraging them to talk about what they've seen and heard. For free and confidential support, call the Mental Health Helpline weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 1-800-534-MIND. That's 1-800-534-6463.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guest in the studio, but we do have Dr. Steve McPhail on the line. And we're going to talk about several things this morning. Some topics going to be uncomfortable for some. For others, it's going to be eye-opener. For others, it will be an opportunity for them to say what they are reluctant to say, or it may be an opportunity for them to hear what they are reluctant to say. So without any further ado, good morning, Doc. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear, sir.
Yes, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. And yourself and your family?
But I'm still fine. I am doing an honorable compromise of staying in.
Yes.
You know, there are honorable compromises and there are dishonorable compromises. I am doing an honorable compromise to stay in.
That's right.
As my son, Dr. McPhail said, Dr. Darren McPhail said, who's now in America working, and he's also a professor at the University of North Dakota.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he's teaching surgery there, and he's also in charge of all of the interns, the new surgeon interns in the hospital at North Dakota, and he has consistently told me, take care of yourself, because no one can protect you. No one can protect you. And when people cannot protect you, they don't know what's wrong, and they don't have the skills to detect what's wrong, they will throw their hands up and they will tell your family there's nothing more you can do, and they will leave you to your own devices. They'll leave you to die.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason I'm doing the honorable thing and staying home and protecting myself and protecting other people from me too.
Yes, so Doc, we've seen throughout the world the demonstrations, the protests that have taken place. We have seen in the United States and in other jurisdictions as well, legislative changes that have been made, policy changes that have been made to address the whole issue of racial injustice. And I don't believe that there's a country in the world that is immune from this topic and where racial injustice has not occurred.
Well, what you're seeing, Orrett, is an unstoppable human energy against a systematic racism that has its genesis, its roots into the Western economic system. That's what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen this after the Second World War with the Jewish people. They had an unstoppable energy, and in their society to right things that injustices that happened to them all over Europe and all over the world.
Yes.
And because they were an economic force, and it all goes back to money, power. Because they were an economic force, they were able to do so, to rectify their situation and also to have their own state, that was imposed upon other people by the United Nations. This is what you see now in the world. And these injustices that happen to the black and brown people all over the world, I didn't know that it would happen in my lifetime, but I knew that there would be an awakening someday, and that people will now have to pay for all the things they did to these people, and so forth. And so what you see now is an unstoppable energy that will pervade everything that we're doing now, and it's not only. And the reason why I call it an unstoppable energy is because it's not only being perpetrated by black and brown people, but by white people too.
Yes,
who know their own history and saying that this is not right. And of course, I also believe in the Bible. I also believe in the scriptures. I also believe in the scriptures, and I know that the scriptures say that each generation will have to pay the price for what the other generation did, and that was unjustified. And this is what's happening right now. The unfolding of the scriptures and the unfolding of history, because they say that if you those who do not abide by history or something like that will repeat it again.
That's right. Yes.
So that's why these movements all over the world, and you notice that it didn't happen. It didn't take much to happen. It happened just in a twinkle of an eye.
Yes.
And it happened with just one person, just one man of color. It happened, and therefore the awakening that happened all over the world was because of one man of color. And now the world government all over the world now has this other pandemic, this human pandemic, this behavioral pandemic on their hands, and don't know how to deal with it because they do not want to sit down, go back and say, where have we gone wrong, and how can we do justice to these injustices that we see that has unfolded all through these centuries.
Exactly.
That's why you see all the tearing down of all the statues and all the symbols of racism and classism, and as Noam Chomsky put it succinctly, there is a price to pay for what you do to other human beings. It might not happen in your generation, but it might happen in another generation. And this is what you're paying now. And all the things the lies that we told ourselves all over the world in many countries. And now, as Malcolm X said, the chickens are coming home to roost.
Yes.
And we here too will pay the price too if we continue the lies that separate us and that keeps one people against another people. And it doesn't surprise me if something like that happens here, and and there will be some event, some catalyst to bring this about in Cayman Islands as well.
Okay, Doc, we're going to take a commercial break. Just hang in there. As soon as we return from this conversation, as soon as we return from this commercial break, the conversation with Dr. Steve Macfield will continue. So please stay tuned.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling, West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore,
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
You love your dad. A.L. Thompson's loves all dads. So we're offering gift ideas at discounts to help you get him what he wants this Father's Day. There's an 82-inch LG 4K Ultra High Def Smart TV on sale for just $19.95 and a 32-inch Smart LED TV for $219. Perhaps he'd want the Cool Zone ultrasonic dry misting system, or Bose headphones, a smartwatch, a Weber grill, a paddleboard, a power tool, or a Conair massager and groomer. See A.L. Thompson's special prices on Father's Day gift ideas at althompson.com and give Dad a gift he'll love.
Travel between the three Cayman Islands remains restricted until further notice. Persons may only travel between Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman to provide essential services or for emergency medical purposes. Persons traveling between any of the three islands may do this by contacting BRAC Travel at gov.ky with the details of their proposed travel, including purpose of visit, length of stay, accommodations, etc. Applications will be processed on a case-by-case basis. All individuals traveling to the sister islands from Grand Cayman must undergo a 14-day mandatory isolation period at a government facility. They will be tested on the 15th day, and direct transportation to the airport will be arranged if they have a negative result.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio, but we have Dr. Steve Macfield on the phone. And I just want to let our listeners know that the phone lines are still open as well. You can call us on a toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990. Email us, For the Record, one word, For the Record, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. So, Doc, what do we say to those persons who say slavery, racial injustice, something that was in the past, we need to move forward? We saw former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, David Cameron, when he was in Jamaica, and when he was approached about paying reparations for slavery, his remarks, and I'm paraphrasing it, was basically that we need to move on. We're now seeing that people are not prepared to move on, that all of those symbols of white supremacy, all of those symbols of racism, the slave trade, The visible ones we're going to remove. We've seen in other instances institutions, many of them institutions of learning that benefited from the slave trade, making moves and trying to make amends as well. We saw when in the 1990s, 1995, 1996 and before, countries divesting their investments in South Africa because of apartheid. So what do we say to those people who still believe that we need to keep quiet about this? We need to keep our mouths shut and just go on and pretend as if nothing ever happened. Pretend as if the reason that you and I are in the Cayman Islands in the West Indies now is because of slavery.
Well, Orrett, how can you move on when people now are awakening to the facts, to the historical facts, that the great wealth that Cameron and other people like him now are privileged to have, and the great power in which they wield around the world has come on the back of slavery, has come on the back of black people. And so what has happened now is that since black people have come to the knowledge that it's not their skin, it's not just as simple as the fact that they're black, that they're empowered, that they're not empowered, and that they're not educated, and they do not have opportunity, is not the reason for them being in that position. And so what Cameron and all of the rest of those white people who do not have a historical conscience and who want to hide the historical facts now our experiences is that the black and the brown people are climbing out of the oppression, and they're now fighting against the injustices and discrimination that they've felt for centuries. Now, you know, a lot of people don't study history, so they don't know, because history is the narrative of mankind, of how they came, how they move from place to place, their interaction with each other. And the problem that we now know that the wealth of the United Kingdom, the wealth of America, the wealth of many people in the Caribbean was on the backs of slavery.
Yes.
Not only slavery, the deaths of millions and millions of our ancestors who died on the voyage to this new world, who died on the voyage to Brazil, who died on the voyage to Venezuela, who died on the voyage to America, who died on the voyage to Canada, who died on the voyage to England, who died on the voyages all over. Millions of them never survived the voyage.
And some were dumped over. Some were dumped overboard. Even when it came, when after abolition, when the boats were chased by those trying to enforce the ending of the slave trade, many were thrown overboard to escape in order for the ships to escape as well.
Well, because they were just cargo.
Yes, yeah.
I just want to give you
and they were covered by insurance. Some of them got, some of the slave owners got insurance money as a result of it too.
If you studied the Zong massacre,
yes.
That was a ship that was captured by the British, from the French, and it had 160 odd slaves on board.
Yes.
And then what they did, they took it back into Africa, and they loaded it up with 3 times as many slaves as was. It has 3 times as many slaves that the ship could carry. And then to come to the Caribbean, they were going to Jamaica, and the captain got ill on board the ship and couldn't command the ship. And they had an old doctor, English doctor, who was on the ship, who was coming back from Africa to the Caribbean, and he took over. Didn't know anything about navigation. Took over the captaincy of the ship. Took over became the master of the ship.
Yep.
And they were lost for something like nearly 12 weeks. And when the water and food started to
get low, yes,
to get low, they start throwing the slaves overboard. The first day they throw 53 women and children overboard, and then the second day, the third day, they throw 60-odd men overboard, and then when some of the Africans saw that they were throwing their family overboard, they jumped overboard instead of to avoid being thrown overboard. They committed suicide. And so when they got into Jamaica, into Black River, the news came out what had happened to the cargo, and the Zong ownership filed for the insurance company to pay them for lost cargo.
Yes.
Because the insurance said that if you lost your cargo, that you could ask for compensation. And the case went on. The case went on in Jamaica and in the United Kingdom, and the court ruled that the Zong ship ownership of the ship was entitled to their payment from the insurance company because the black people were on the cargo, and therefore it was justified for them to jettison their cargo to save the ship.
Yep, Doc, we have
money.
Yeah, Doc, we have a caller on the line. Let's take that call. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes.
That caller has hung up. Hopefully they'll call back. Yes, Doc. And the good thing, how we know, and if there's anything good about these things, how we know so much about the atrocities that were committed was because the English and all of the others, the Belgians, and because King Leopold II of Belgium, he was a wicked man. You know, he had his own country in Africa, the Congo.
Yeah.
But these people, they kept records.
Remember now, they were corporations.
Yes.
And they had shareholders. And they had to keep records to show the shareholders the profits that they were making and what happened to the shareholders' money that they were investing.
Yep. So in today's day, when atrocities are committed, we have the smartphones and the cell phones to record it. Those days, they put it down on paper.
Yes, we also have records there too.
Yes.
That Caymanans don't know about, and I didn't know about them when I was young, until I started to. I knew that there were racists in here, but I didn't know why I was treated the way I was treated. I thought it was because I was just had a black skin. I didn't understand why I could go to school with some of the white kids and play with them, but and when my family had a party for me, they could send an invitation to them. They would come to my party, but I couldn't go to theirs. I didn't understand why that was happening. I didn't understand that, and of course, I came from a family, of British people. My grandfather was a shipwright, a shipbuilder, and a carpenter.
Yes,
and so he had some economic status in the society. And some respect, but I didn't know why he couldn't do certain things. And my experience with racism started very early. and you're talking about Baden Powell and the Boy Scouts, and I was lucky in those days to have people who understood more than I did. And one of the people that sort of walked me through the whole system was Louis E. Banks, who died several weeks ago.
Yes. Doc.
And it wasn't. Well, for instance, I'll give an example. In 19, when the Commissioner Smith came here, I must have been 12 years old at the time. I was going to the Assembly Adventist Mission School. That was the primary private school in Cayman in those days. Most all the whites went there. The commissioner's son, Brian Smith, his sister Marguerite, all the Arches people, Dick Arch, his brother Jimmy, Marion, Bob Thompson, Jack and Jill Borden, his sister LaWarn. All of those people was going to that school. I became good friends with Brian Smith, the commissioner's son.
Okay.
And he used to like to go fishing with my grandfather and myself. And so some nights Friday nights he would come up to my grandfather's house and would sleep overnight there, and so that he could be he could wake up early in the morning, start the morning, go fishing with us in the North Sound. And that brought so much resentment from the other white boys that we were friends and we were good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And one day we were playing cricket or softball down at the it wasn't called the Prince Royal Park then, it was called the Town Hall Yard.
Yes.
And you know, they attacked me. One white boy attacked me, and of course, just because I was friendly with this commissioner's kid, and I defended myself. And his father came up to Mary Street, brought him up to Mary Street because I had beaten him real badly. And my grandfather told him to get the hell away from here and says to him that you should go and teach your son how to fight, because I teach my children how to fight and defend themselves. And that was the first time that I understood why he was attacking me, because I was not supposed to be friendly with this white kid, and especially the fact that he was the commissioner's son.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then the other incident happened when I was in a Boy Scout, and every November during the bazaar, for the church, you know, to raise money for the church.
Yes.
So they had cake sales and had the merry-go-rounds, and they had the flat, the grease
ball, mm-hmm.
and all that sort of stuff in the Town Hall Yard. And the Boy Scout was always there, with their helping out to raise money. So I had a game that I used to play. You had to get 3 tennis balls into a bottle, and at night then the Boy Scouts would give a concert. So the Boy Scouts then, a friend of mine in the Boy Scouts was Crosby Walton. So we had a skit with some other Boy Scouts, and we were singing the Negro spirituals, and doing the Negro spirituals on the stage in the Town Hall with the big concert after the cake sale.
Okay.
One ranking member of the church came and stopped us from singing, calling the name of the Lord in the church in the Town Hall. And we couldn't understand, because this is like the Negro spirituals. I ain't gonna grieve my God no more. Ain't gonna grieve. I'm gonna live young, and my sword and shield down by the riverside. And I was very angry that he had come and push us off the stage and tell us not to come back there, blah, 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 blah. And Louis Ebanks that night sat down and told me what the situation that we were in. And I realized then that the church that we were helping to raise money for were one of the perpetrators of racism.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt so bad, so bitter, and realizing that it's because my parents and my grandparents were former slaves, and that we were black, and that was a stigma, and that we were less than other people, and we have no value.
Mm-hmm.
And it was from then that I started to try to understand what's happening. And then the next year...
Okay, Doc, I'm going to have to interrupt you there, because we have to go to a commercial break, but we'll start off there when we return, and I'll read something that one of our listeners has written that talks about the same thing about the church in the Cayman Islands as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Vant Motors and RBC Royal Bank are making it easy for you to buy your new car or truck. The spring into summer sale at Vant Motors is going on now with no money down and no monthly payments for up to 12 months on select models only. That's no monthly payments for up to 12 months or until June 2021 on select models only. Offer ends June 30th. Find out how you can drive home the best deal of the year and call VAMT at 949-8288 or email sales@vamptmotors.com.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
The Wharf Restaurant is back open to the public. After donating over 20,000 meals during the lockdown, we are energized and proud to have been able to help. Book your waterfront reservations today and enjoy live music while watching the sunset on our spacious and breezy terrace. The Wharf has fresh fish and fresh local produce options every day, as well as an extensive wine list. We are family and kid-friendly with a kids menu and tap and feeding every night. We are looking forward to welcoming you back. Call 949-2231 to book your table today at The Wharf.
The Cayman Islands government wishes to advise the public that they will continue to distribute reusable cloth masks across the Cayman Islands with the assistance of the RCIPS Community Police Officer and Community Safety Officer in your areas. Members of the public living in gated stratas are asked to contact the Community Policing Department at the Georgetown Police Station on 649-4222 to arrange delivery or collection of their mask. Stay safe, Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio, but we have Dr. Steve McFeel on the line. We're talking about racial injustice, racial inequality. We're talking about the whole movement that is taking place throughout the world. And yet here in the Cayman Islands, we are extremely silent about it because we continue to bury our heads in the sand when it comes to these issues, not realizing that some of the issues that we're seeking to address here in the Cayman Islands today in terms of Caymanians not getting jobs, in terms of Caymanians having to rely on the Needs Assessment Unit for assistance, all stem from the whole concept and the practice of racism. So one of our listeners has written in and said racism existed in the Cayman Islands mostly by white people. It even existed in the churches. Remember, the whites had their own church benches. We call them pews, right? Church pews. Or colored people dare not sit on those benches. White men had children by their female slaves. Many in Cayman were born that way. Generations in the Cayman Islands refuse to admit their slave ancestry. And I just want to add to that, we see in Bermuda Talk, one of the big catalysts in Bermuda was the theater boycotts in 1959. We had theaters here in the Cayman Islands. We had several, one in West Bay. I think that one was called Cop Hall. We had Mr. Thomas Seymour's theater right there at the junction of Eastern Avenue and Shedden Road, right on the junction there where Reflections is now, right there on that corner. For those of you John come latelys, that's where Thomas Seymour's theater was at. And then we had Mr. Berkeley Bush's theater. Mr. Berkeley Bush's theater had 2 levels, the ground level and upstairs. White people mainly went upstairs, or if you could afford the fee to go upstairs. But mostly those people who could afford the fee were people of Caucasian race. White people go upstairs. The black people went downstairs. Thomas's theater, mostly black people went there. Period. It was mostly black people.
Just let me tell you, Orrett, about the pew system in the church.
Yes.
My grandmother, one night I went with my grandmother to the church, and we got there early. We were probably the first 2 people in the church, and so the church was empty, and we went and sat in the middle of the church. And before the service began, a lady, I'm not going to call her name, she's now deceased, came and told us, say, Aunt Sarah, you cannot sit here because that pew belongs to Dr. Roy and their family. And we had to move.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to move on the southern side of the church, that little area on the south side of the church near the Margarita Wheel, that was the side for all the black people.
That's the side that you had to really look around the corner to see that people are there.
Yes, right. That's where we have to sit. And I remember my grandfather used to go to Havana, where my aunt lived. They worked in Havana, and used to bring a lot of nice clothes to me. And one Sunday school, I was going to Sunday school. You know, in Sundays you go to the Sunday school and you got your cards with your verses on them. You have to remember them, so when you come back to the Sunday school next Sunday, you can
recite them. Yes.
Mm-hmm. You can yeah. And I was going there, and I was so happy that I had remembered my verse, and I was going there, and I met this white lady, and she said to me, "Sonny, who you belong to?" And I said, "I belong to Miss Mabel." And she said, "I can tell you what things to Sonny to say. The clothes that you got on don't suit you." And she said, "They suit a little white person, but they don't suit no colored people." And I was so upset that when I went home, I told my mother what happened, and my mother said, "Well, you know, that's what they think and so." But my mother never sat down and told me about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It was only when I went to Jamaica with the Boy Scout Jamboree, and after the Jamboree was over, I stayed about 3 or 4 of us, Warren Bernard, myself, Friend McMillan, and I think the financial secretary's father, Jefferson, he stayed with a man in Jamaica. I can't remember his name, but he was the sanitary inspector for Western Kingston. And we stayed at his house after the Jamboree. We were in Jamaica for about a week, and we stayed there. And during that time, I picked up this book, and I was reading it. And I was very interested in it. I was reading it all day. You know, people want to go up to Stone Hill. I didn't want to go to Stone Hill. I wanted to read this book. And he said I could take the book.
Okay.
And the book was the Teachings and Sayings of Marcus Garvey.
Okay.
And when I read this book, it was telling me that being black was a great thing, and that I came from ancestors that were important. And then that's when I started to organize my mind that I was just as good as any other white person, and so forth. And that's when I started having the problems in Cayman, and that is where I almost had to leave here to be able to survive. And that's another show. I don't want to go into that.
Well, we may have enough time to talk about that too, because we're gonna continue, talking about this whole thing. So we'll have some more time. People aren't calling in, but we know why they're not calling in, because they're listening. They're listening, and of course there are some who would love to talk about it, but are a little reluctant to do so. But don't worry, we will say all of the things. We will say all of the things that they would like to say.
Yeah.
We will say them for them. We're going to take a commercial break now, Doc, for the headline news. When we return, the conversation will continue. So please stay tuned.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on Island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Police officers responded to a report of a 2-vehicle collision on Crew Road west of the Grand Harbor roundabout shortly after 1:30 p.m. on Thursday. A Toyota SUV had been traveling in the westbound lane when it crossed the median and traveled into the oncoming lane, colliding with a Hyundai SUV traveling eastbound. Emergency services attended the scene, and the driver and passenger of the Hyundai and the driver of the Toyota were taken to the Cayman Islands Hospital for treatment for non-life-threatening injuries. Good morning, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, state authorities in the northwestern U.S. state of Washington have hit back after U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to take back a police-free district controlled by protesters in Seattle. Governor Jay Inslee said Mr. Trump should stay out of the state's business, and Seattle's mayor said any invasion of the city would be illegal. Police abandoned a precinct there on Monday after days of clashes. And a city council in the U.S. state of Kentucky has voted to ban no-knock warrants, passing a law named in honor of a woman who was shot dead by police. 26-year-old Breonna Taylor was shot 8 times when officers entered her apartment in Louisville on March 13th. They were executing a no-knock search warrant as part of a drugs investigation. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guest in the studio. We have Dr. Steve Macfield on the line. We're talking about racial injustice, racial inequality. We're talking about not only throughout the world, but here in the Cayman Islands as well. And all of those uncomfortable truths that are out there that some of our audience may not want to talk about, may not want to address. Dr. Steve Macfield and I will talk about them for you if you feel uncomfortable talking about them. Just want to point out that we have been advised that the Carnival Queen, Miss Reba, will be celebrating a birthday on Monday. And of course, we have no show on Monday. So I want to wish Miss Reba a happy birthday when it comes on Monday as well. I want to really, really wish her a happy birthday to Miss Reba. One of our listeners has also written in and said that just wanted to let us know that East End had a movie theater in the late 60s to the early 70s. It was owned by the late George W. Borden. The name of the business was Pirate Cove. Person said that they had more to say, but time did not permit them at the moment. But if you do get time before the show is over, please share more with us as well. Doc, before I put you back on the line, I just want to read a section from the late Armand Panton's book, A Special Son. And in the chapter talking about his childhood, it reads, Armand Lauder Panton's ancestors were missionaries from Dundee, Scotland, who had gone to Calabar, Africa, and there one of the Pantons had fathered a child with one of the black servants from Africa. The black members of the family had gone to Falmouth, Jamaica, as slaves, and their descendants came to Grand Cayman after emancipation. So,
that's right.
Yep.
They came as school teachers.
Mm-hmm.
They taught in Prospect.
Okay.
You know, Prospect was the suburbs of Buttontown and Georgetown. That's where all the wealthy white people live.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the Pantons taught, and they also taught in Buttontown, J.C. Panton.
Okay.
But before that, in 1838, after emancipation, there was a Michael College in Jamaica. That was set up by English trust called Michael Trust after emancipation to help educate the black people in Jamaica, because that's what the black people did after emancipation. They started to educate themselves and started to build institutions. So they sent a man here was Andrew Malcolm.
Yeah. Okay, Doc, I'm going to interrupt you there because I know the Malcolm story will take a while. Let's just grab a caller first, and then we'll come back to Mr. Malcolm. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes. Morning, Osi.
Good morning. How are you?
And morning to my friend, Dr. Steve. Roger Marin here. I listened to your conversation while I cleaned up the yard. Yeah.
Okay.
But and I like the history. But I think what people should really understand more in life is that everybody on this earth come from the 12 tribes of Israel.
Okay.
And we need to understand the tribes and the function of the tribes. It has nothing to do with color.
Uh-huh.
That's out.
Okay. What does it have to do with?
We're not, I should say, we're not Catholics and this and that. We are all Israelites, a child of God.
Okay.
And when you know the tribe you're from, you can actually know the function of the person, and it makes you get along with the person a lot better. I did study this for the last 5 years, and the guy that trained me in this, I hate to say so, I had to lay him to rest the day before yesterday. Right? I was Captain Orrett son. Okay. He was my neighbor for the last 5 years. And let me tell you, his teachings will never leave me. But the function of the tribes is the function. I was born in March, so I'm the babe of Jacob. If you read Genesis 49, you see all the tribes. So I'm from the tribe of Benjamin. And
that's because based on the month that you were born,
that's right,
determines the tribe that you're in?
That's right.
Okay.
And I represent the color black. And I rule the foot, because that's the last part of the body. I could go on for a long time, OC, but people need to understand the functions of the tribe. What month were you born, if you don't mind telling me?
Sorry?
What month were you born, if you don't mind
February.
February, you're a Joseph. My dad was a Joseph. Bob Marley was a Joseph. You represent the color white, OC. and you rule the shin. And when you know the function of the people, it's easy to get along, you know? So it's a long story, but I just wanted to bring this up because it has nothing to do with color when it comes to the tribes.
Yeah, the history of mankind, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. Anyway, I'll continue listening and I'll bore you no longer, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we lost Dr. McField. We're going to try to reconnect with him. We have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Fine. How are you doing? Thanks.
I'm good, thanks.
Right. If I can just have maybe 3 minutes or so.
Sure.
Of your time.
Go right ahead.
I see things. Racial segregation and problems in the Cayman Islands. This existed quite some time back. Are you listening to me?
Yes. I'm hearing you. We're hearing a beeping in the background, but ignore that. We're hearing you.
Good. Thank you. In 1959, 1960, when Fidel started to take over Cuba, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Just mark a pin on that now. I'm going to slip ahead and then come back and say, well, why I was talking about that. But I have to go ahead now, so you'll understand what I'm saying, the bigger picture. Also, in Dr. Steve, when I, and others like me, was about 8, 9 years old, little boys, fair-skinned boys, I guess you want to call us, not white but fair-skinned.
Mm-hmm.
I make no reluctance in calling the name of some teachers we had from Jamaica.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This particular teacher name, we know him as Mr. Harding. One day we were in school laughing uncontrollable. Just laughing, laughing about anything, just laughing. We couldn't control ourselves, so what Mr. Harding done, lined us up. I was the first one that he called up to hold out his hand. Harding beat me in my right hand up to my elbow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what time he stopped beating me? When I passed out and dropped on the floor.
Wow.
Okay, listen good now, you haven't heard anything yet. At that time, my father was at sea. My mother wasn't well. And so the other brothers and sisters wasn't that big to really confront him. So I went to the doctor, I think it was Dr. Horner, who tended to me and said I need a few days off from school to rest. Okay? Now, nothing happened about that. That just went down the tube, went down the drain. Another time, shortly after that, there was a corporal in the Cayman Islands, Logan from Jamaica. I'm telling you, I got broad shoulders, so I will not hesitate to call or say where they're from.
Mm-hmm.
There was a crazy man in West Bay, Henry Hewitt Ebanks. Not really troubling anybody, but out by Mr. William Farrington's shop about 11 o'clock in the day, just hollering on the street, and whoa, it wasn't really troubling nobody. Corporal Logan passed by, seen Mr. Hewitt hollering. He took Mr. Hewitt, threw him down on the ground, but Hewitt was strong, but he wasn't strong as Logan. Logan put that boot in Mr. Hewitt's chest and started to really manhandle him in a real uncivilized way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget Mr. William Farrington, the Honorable William Farrington. Somebody called him and say what was happening outside. Mr. William Farrington came out of that shop red as a cayenne pepper. And he told Logan, come on, you just get off of that boy right now. Just get off of that man now. This is not going to happen in the Cayman Islands. He said, you know what you do? You go home and I think they had grips or something.
Your grip, suitcase. But yes.
Right. You pack your grip because you're going to be going back to Jamaica shortly. And I can guarantee you it was not long when Logan was back in Jamaica. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another one I want to bring up is I don't know if you remember Paul Ebanks from Boson Bay. A brown-skinned man used to, go fishing and all that. A real kind of comedian, but he likes a little drink and so on.
No, can't say that I do.
Remember one day he had a couple of drinks, started to backchat. Police call himself a Caymanian, but originally from Jamaica. I am reluctant to say that because he's dead and gone now. But anyway, he confronted Paul, and within seconds, you know what he did? He took his staff and with the point hit Paul in the stomach, knocked him to the floor, and gave him 3 or 4 licks over his shoulders with that staff, Paul passed out. Some other ones that I could tell you about that happened by people like an Indian bar owner in West Bay, that people get drunk, not causing no trouble. He walk up behind them, push them sudden, fall down and bust up the face. Come on, man, give me a break. When we talk about color, I'm telling you, we have suffered in this island, not just by whites, but blacks as well, has been taking advantage of our people.
But is that that's not so much racial injustice as it is abuse of power?
Well, all right. If your point is taken, we're coming back to the racial thing again.
Okay.
When it comes to people like me, I don't consider myself white, by no means, because I mix with everybody. I come from both colors. So at the end of the day, am I going to, if my parents was alive, would I kill my father and go on my mother, or kill my mother and go on my father's side? I don't think so. I said that to say this. We need to really look at this thing in perspective, and I can't do nothing of what happened to me and others. I can't do a thing about it. All I can say, God have mercy on their soul, because it wasn't fair what happened, and I can tell you this, and Dr. Steve as well. There was a racial thing in Cayman about who was not necessarily white, but fair skin. There was always a resentment. I remember the guys like Rodell Johnson. We go in on a truck to Georgetown playing football. I've been seeing Rodell Johnson taking advantage of, is that the older one that died? If one of the brothers. He took Alden and just really bust up his face, and Paul Alden was drunk. These are the things that we need to talk about.
But Carla, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. There's a difference between my question to you. What if, because of the color of your skin, your ability to own a business, your ability to hire persons, your ability to be able to get clients was based on the color of your skin? Because that's what we're talking about. There are people who get preoccupied just simply with whether you're white or you Caucasian or you black. Those are physical conditions that people have that you can't do anything about it, even though there are companies now that are making lots of money off of skin whitening creams and stuff like that for those people who don't like their color,
right,
their blackness, and and feel uncomfortable in that. So there's one issue when you're thinking about just simply the color of your skin, but when the color of your skin determines whether you make it or you don't make it, that is where we have to take a stand.
All right. Well, what I want to say to you, going back into history, as a rooted West Bayer from so many generations, whether you realize it or not, people from West Bay, all sorts of malicious rumors, and once you go to West Bay, which was mostly, shall I say, in those days, fair-skinned people, it was something that people did not like West Bayers, not necessarily that we did anything, but I know Steve used to come down and others, and maybe yourself and Junior used to take pictures. Everybody got along good.
I would twist it the other way, though, in terms of, I would say that West Bayers didn't like black people. Some West Bayers didn't like black people because of the color, because they were of, a lighter complexion. But caller, I've given you more than 3 minutes, and we pass our commercial break, but we'll be on until 10 o'clock. So please feel free to call back if you miss. Sorry, I had to interrupt you, but
okay.
Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Vant Motors and RBC Royal Bank are making it easy for you to buy your new car or truck. The Spring Into Summer Sale at Vant Motors is going on now with no money down and no monthly payments for up to 12 months on select models only. That's no monthly payments for up to 12 months or until June 2021 on select models only. Offer ends June 30th. Find out how you can drive home the best deal of the year and call VAMP at 949-8288 or email sales@vampmotors.com.
Dear parents and guardians, we deeply care about our students and understand the challenges you may now face during these unprecedented times.
We want you to know that we are committed to ensuring that your child's education continues
and that you are not alone. We are doing everything we can to make sure no child is left behind.
But to do so, we need your help to get connected and stay connected with you and your child. So reach out to us and speak with us
about how we can best support you and your needs. Working hand in hand with you is the only way to secure our children's future.
We are in this together.
A message from the Edna Moyle, Georgetown, Theoline McCoy, Savannah, and West End Primary Schools.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We've reconnected with Dr. Macfield. Before we go back to him, I just have several WhatsApp messages that I'd like to share with you. This one is asking us to please send happy birthday wishes to Lana June Ebanks, the pleasant voice that we have been hearing for many years when we call cable and wireless Lime or Flow. So I want to wish Miss Lana June Ebanks happy birthday as well. The other ones that we have here, this one says, good morning. I just got a chance to listen several minutes ago to the topic of racial injustice. I think back to the time of the Black Power movement in the U.S. when a number of young Caymanians, males who supported the views of those advocates, but it was surprising that most of these same Caymanian men ended marrying white women. Any idea why such a change of heart of these men? I don't think, again, that the Black Panther movement was necessarily against white per se. Again, we're talking about the injustices perpetrated by the ruling class, which was white people, the Caucasian people. We're talking about the inequities that existed as a result of their practices more than anything else. I'm not going to make any excuses for those Caymanians who sympathized with Black Panthers but ended up marrying white women. But I just want to point out to you that you had some Black Panthers who had white women and married them as well. Then another one has written and said, Doc, it is still in the church right now, but one has to be filled with the Holy Ghost to know them. But Doc, you love your Bible. Read this for the people. Let us feel good about ourselves. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5, as well. So, Doc, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Good to have you back as well. We have 2 callers, so we're going to grab those callers now. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning, OC.
Hey, good morning, Lord. How are you?
I'm good. And good morning to Dr. McField. Oh, you can't hear me?
Yeah.
OC, that comment on the Black Panthers a while ago, they wasn't really, to say, against white people.
Right.
What Pierre Newton and them did was they armed the black community because of police brutality.
Right.
And as you know, in their constitution, you got the rights to bear arms. So they were very educated. So they read their constitution and they knew their rights. So that was the reason they could run around with arms. And then they had, Angela Davis, who was a big activist with them. Yeah. But I just wanted to say that I grew up next door to Oswald, and as you know, Oswald was ordained as one of the black powers when they came back home, right? And
Mr. McLean and Mr. Borden, Roy Borden.
Yeah. So I grew up right next to Oswald, and he was my scout master. I was always in his house on the porch, and he gave me a book to read, Living Black and White America, when I was like about 15 years old, right? And then I went on to the Pierre Newton and the Stephen Biko and Stokely Carmichael and all those people. Martin Luther King was there too, but I never ventured into that direction because I couldn't understand turning the other cheek.
Yeah,
and you being peaceful, because sooner or later you're gonna run out of cheek. You know what I mean?
And that's where Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King were at odds.
Were at odds, right? Because he was, by any means, that's who you hit me, I'll hit you back. Stokely Carmichael, who was actually walking across the Selma Bridge with the doctor on an interview, they said, Doctor, what is this? He said, oh, this is a peaceful march and we shall overcome. Stokely Michael, when it comes to his turn, holding hands with the doctor, said, listen, I'm here peaceful, but if anybody hit me and introduce violence on me, I'm going to introduce violence on them. I mean, and he was Dr. King buddy, walking hand in hand. So, but after reading the book, Living Black and White America, I mean, it took a kind of toll on me because I grew up in East End. We didn't know anything about, like, black and white kind of thing, right? But I remember then after that, I remember looking in the mirror and patting myself on the back for not being too black after all, So, I mean, I started to see things a different way. And I remember talking to my buddies, and the only young person that really understood what I was talking about and questioned me was the young Johan Markson at football practice. Because when I started talking about Stephen Biko and Malcolm and the likes, he was like, where you get all that from, But it's just because I had the teaching of Oswald, and then Teacher Roy Borden was my principal teacher, So I got to be educated in that area from those two individuals, So, but we were very naive and dumb to the fact of what was really going on around us. We just thought that because we were poor, we just didn't get the opportunities. I can remember Oswald passing the exam to be a teacher, and he was not told of his results. The man picked up and went to C, and while he was at C, he come to find out somebody reported that he had passed. You know, they hide his result just because of who he was. You know, so yeah, they're the kind of things that I found out later on that was happening here. But growing up, we didn't know better. We just thought you either was rich or you're poor.
Yeah, yes.
You know,
okay.
We didn't see color. You know, so yeah.
Lord Graham, thank you very much. We're going to grab one more caller before we go to the commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, hi, morning, OC.
Good morning. You should have waited a little later. Had I known it was you, I would wait a little later so we could give you more time. But we'll stretch it as much as we can before we go to the commercial break.
And I'm not going to be that long, but I'm going to
take as long as you need.
Yeah, so I was going to comment briefly on the caller before Graham. And by the way, when people say they don't see color, I have some concerns about that because we're not colorblind. And, you have to figure out why people keep using that expression when they're dealing with race. A subject for another day. But the comment that I was going to make was an experience that we had shortly after a number of us graduated from university and came back in the early 1990s. Dave Martins organized a session with a number of us. It was a wide cross-section of us as graduates in different disciplines. And what I recall specifically was, and like now, the subject was very, very sensitive. People were introspective and tried to secure safe internal places so that, they wouldn't have. But what Dave was good at, as you know, is opening people up to dialogue. There were a number of Caymanian black men from Georgetown who participated in the conversation. And what Dave sought to ask them was, how do you feel growing up black? And, what expressions of your negritude that, you felt as negative? And ultimately, they started to say, well, we all went to school together, but when X would call me Samba, it made me feel bad, but I didn't say anything about it. So X would say, well, I didn't know that there was anything wrong with calling you Black Samba or calling you Buggage or anything like that. And then, what eventually evolved was a conversation about why these guys in Georgetown chose not to marry anybody that looked remotely black. And they said, we knew what it was like growing up black in Georgetown, and we don't want our children to grow up black in the Cayman Islands. And this is like in the mid-90s, like I said. And, they were saying it's not as if we don't like integrating with black women, but we don't want black women to have our children. So I put that out there to, to have us have that kind of conversation as well, because someone made reference to Browning, because that's a whole different topic as well about, having class issues and discrimination based on the lightness of your skin. And the final point I'll make is some of the books that people like W.E.B. Du Bois and Frantz Fanon has written about this double consciousness.
Frantz Fanon, Wretched of the Earth.
And black skin, white mask, roles of black people. And, talk about, why is it black folks walk around feeling as though they're treated as a problem? What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me being a black person and people look at me as a problem? Now, that is reflected, as we know, in the workplace. And I mean, again, a topic for another discussion, but you've touched on it when you spoke about being black and in Cayman and whether or not you have social mobility. And the types of black that usually get promotion, people have expressions about house nigger. And I mean, I use this with respect. Sure. Obviously, I'm not using it to cast that further.
Right.
The house person is the house nigger versus the person in the field. These are all nuanced issues and affect us directly today. And this is good in that we're now having an opportunity to speak honestly to the questions and concerns that actually address this thing and actually explain why, for example, partly certainly explain why Caymanians don't do well in their own country when their leaders don't put them first. You'll also see the memes that people used to circulate with one of our politicians, no one actually came out and said, that is wrong. We don't do that to our people. And people stood up and said those mean things about this particular individual. And no one saw that it was something that was so atrocious that ought to be addressed. And we have to question why that is something that is accepted. And that's kind of like where I was going with that. All right, thanks so much for
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're going to take a commercial break. And Doc, I want to say to you that, when people, while they're talking, if you want to, jump in at any point in time, please feel free to do so as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Obey the laws and wear the gauze. Protect your jaws from septic paws. Stay clean, Cayman. Reflection sells hand sanitizer from $2.99. 10 surgical masks are only $9.99. And the best KN95 masks from only $3.30. Volume discounts available at all 5 Liquor for Less locations. Shedden Road, North Church Street, Savannah, Northside, and the McClendon Drive Airport location. Don't miss the Liquor for Less incredible lockdown price markdowns. Hundreds of fine from $2.99. Cases of ice cold below wholesale prices. Save $9 off liters of. Enjoy our manager specials exclusively at Liquor for Less. Prices so low, we can't say them on the radio. Liquor for Less enforces the wearing of masks, social distancing, and preventative measures to help stop the spread of COVID-19, such as consistent hand washing and only leaving home for essential purposes. The 8 a.m. news is brought to you Monday through Friday by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For information as it happens and questions on the Emergency Withdrawal Pension Program, visit chamberpension.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have one caller on hold, but I want to give Dr. Steve McPhail an opportunity to respond to the callers that preceded this caller. And just for those of you who know your Bible and those of you who don't, Song of Solomon that one of the writers referred to, chapter 1, verse 5 reads, I am black, but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. So I am black as the tents of Kedar or the curtains of Solomon. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. Doc, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here. There was a gentleman caller before Ms. Picarian. And I just want to say it shows that the intellectual bankruptcy and the lack of knowledge of the savagery of slavery and the inhumanity of one group of people to another group of people, and the aftermath and what happened to these people. You know, when I was in Toronto, and I was working I was also, among a lot of things I did, I was working in an advertising agency, and it was owned by a Jewish man. And every now and again, he would be gone for a couple of weeks, or sometimes he would be locked in his office for days and days when he had terrible headaches. And I understood he went to every doctor and they couldn't cure the headaches. And then I was asking, his family finally told me that he was a child in the concentration camps, and he was one of them liberated from the concentration camps after the war, and just an image or color or sound or something would trigger the memories of the brutality in those camps, and he couldn't take it, and he would go into a sort of solace and trance and stuff like that until he got out of it. You know, what people should do instead of making silly and simple sending muffled messages about their own opinion, what they need to do, they need to be educated. They need to go to the archives. They need to read. And they need to read the different psychologists and psychiatrists and of the aftermath of this brutality, this thing that built the Western world, that built the riches of the Western world on the backs of all of these people. They need to do that before they speak. And I can say, for what I know locally, I don't like to communicate in such simple terms, but what I can say is that even in West Bay, when they had the co-op hall, black West Bayers couldn't go there when they had dances there. Even there they had segregation. And if you should try to find some of those people that I know that will tell you that, yes, that they thought they were white until when they went there they couldn't get into the dances because they were those dances in the co-op hall and stuff were for special people.
Right.
So, you know, what people need to do, they need to read. They need to read the books. They need to read the psychiatrist report. That's what they need to do. And instead of just making simplistic, because what did your message about Black Panther? The message about Black Panther was the brutality against black people by white people, by policemen, by white enforcement agencies.
Yeah, that's what our caller said. Yep.
It has nothing to do with the integration of the races.
Yep.
It didn't have anything to do with that. And so you know, this snides and these things about marrying, people should marry who they want and who they're in love with. They should marry anyone. They should be free to marry anyone who they're in love with, and so forth. And so that shows the simplicity of the person who sent that in. And I do not really want to go into that because those are not academic and educational things that supports the argument that you raised this morning.
Okay, thank you for that, Doc. We have 3 callers on hold. We're going to try to take all of those calls. We may have a commercial break in between. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning again, Jose.
Good morning again.
Good. We're going into chapter 2 now, and hopefully it don't take 3 minutes this time.
Okay.
Yeah, we're starting off again with, I think it's 1959 when Castro started to take over Cuba. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm sure Dr. Steve, if he was in Cayman then, I don't know if he was Cayman or Canada, but in any case, you had these guys coming from Cuba and dumping ammunition, what we call along Georgetown Bay.
Yeah, someone was telling me about that there was a lot of ammunition and arms found at the Marl Pit. You familiar with that?
I'm so familiar, and it was more than one time they found it.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I think administrator, because I was quite young then, probably, 11 years old or something like that. I think the administrator may be Jack Rose, could have been administrator. I'm not sure. I'm here for correction if necessary.
Yeah, but let's make the connection with 1959 and what we're talking about now. Quickly, though.
Yeah. So, after we seen that the administrator, he was kind of reluctant. He said he was in touch with the British government.
Mm-hmm.
I remember people like Farmer, Buller, what's his name now, Cardinal DaCosta, Ira Walton, Ira Thompson, all Caymanians. When that plane landed on top of the airport, I think it was a DC-3, could have been 2, loaded with ammunition and Cubans in uniform with their gun belts and everything. That was the time that they took trucks and everything else and parked on the airport, went and disarmed those planes, took all of the men. Henry Bush, it was a big joke because they said he was acting as immigration officer, took these guys, and he would stand up on the counter at the airport, the check-in counter, and looking at the names and slapping them down on the counter.
Running out of time.
Good. Anyway, they sent them back, and what they said, by 3 o'clock this afternoon, Cayman Islands is going to be flattened by Castro. Ira Thompson told me presently, because he used to be driving taxi, he said they got a telegram from the British government saying that Castro could try it, but by 3 o'clock this afternoon or 4 o'clock, Havana would be flat as a 25-cent coin. That was when Guatemala was about to invade Belize. So I'm getting off now, but I said that to say this. We should not just think that everything that we're talking about the British, we have to remember the people that protected us years gone by. And I am not English. I am not an Englishman. I am British, and I thank them for what they have done for the Cayman Islands. And things like that we should sit down and discuss, not just about what color we are or who we are, but see what has not only slavery in the past, but things that was very beneficial to the Cayman Islands. So I don't have enough time to say what I got to say, but thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, caller. We're going to take a commercial break, last commercial break for the morning. We still have 2 callers on hold, Paul. And we're going to make those 2 callers the last callers for the morning because I want to get Dr. Macfield back on before we close off. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
It's not Toolfest at A.L. Thompson's, but it's almost as good. Toolfest has been an annual 2-day event since 2009, but because of current events, there will be no live demos. But that's okay, because what will be at Not Toolfest is the deepest discounts of the year on select hand tools and power tools for 3 weeks. Save big on tools by Makita, Milwaukee, Bosch, Skill, Dremel, and other power brands, and get 15% off all items in the tools department now through July 4th. Remember that Father's Day is June 21st, so give them a big boy toy from A.L. Thompson's during Not Toolfest.
The Wharf restaurant is back open to the public. After donating over 20,000 meals during the lockdown, we are energized and proud to have been able to help. Book your waterfront reservations today and enjoy live music while watching the sunset on our spacious and breezy terrace. The Wharf has fresh fish and fresh local produce options every day, as well as an extensive wine list. We are family and kid-friendly with a kids menu and tarpon feeding every night. We are looking forward to welcoming you back. Call 949-2231 to book your table today at The Wharf.
The Cayman Islands government wishes to advise the public that they will continue to distribute reusable cloth masks across the Cayman Islands with the assistance of the RCIPS Community Police Officer and Community Safety Officer in your areas. Members of the public living in gated stratas are asked to contact the Community Policing Department at the Georgetown Police Station on 649-4222 to arrange delivery or collection of their mask. Stay safe, Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio, but we have Dr. Steve Macfield on the line. We have 2 callers. Those are going to be the last 2 callers for the morning. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
I want to say something to you. You were right. My mother, which is Miss Vita Dilbert, right, used to live in this area here. And you know where the old West Bay Theater used to be?
Yes,
Okay, you know what she told us? And for me to know this, the West Bay men used to stand up there with white Winchesters. That's what they used to call conch shells in them days, a white Winchester. And used to pelt the Georgetown men back to Georgetown. And how I know this is so true, the young man that I raised that they calls my sidekick and dancing, he always says to me, you know, you got a little raspberry pearl gene, but you're not prejudiced. So how he know about it? He's young enough to be my future son. And you know what he told me? He said his grandparents told him.
Yeah.
Now listen now, and you see the church, the Presbyterian church.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me tell you one thing. If they want to say anything about me, I don't care. 'Cause talking can hurt me. That was one of the most prejudiced place all the churches. That's why I don't go back there, because it's still there. And I don't care whether they like me or whether they hate me, because I'm not going to live off one. But the truth is the truth, and we should learn the truth. Oh, see, you have a good time, and you can watch me dancing for my...
And you have a happy birthday on Monday as well. You have a happy birthday on Monday.
You're not going to celebrate her, but I will.
Take care. Last caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I have a question.
Sure.
And for Dr. Steve, too.
Okay.
Do you believe, when it comes to politics, do you believe when people vote differently and the hate that some people have for one another, do you believe that is the same or has become the same as racism? Thank you.
Okay. Doc, you want to answer that one?
I don't know how to answer that one. I don't know why people vote. People vote their conscience. People vote for economic reasons. People vote for family. People vote for privilege. And I don't want
or a good snake oil salesman might have convinced them to do so.
Yeah. I don't want to. I don't have an answer for that. Sorry. So.
Okay. I just want to make one observation, Doc, and I believe one of the things that you wanted to talk about was that teacher in Bordentown, and you didn't get a chance to do that. So hopefully, you'll be able to do that as well. I see where one of the this is going to be controversial, I know, but I'm going to say it anyway. I see where one of the tourist attractions, or where actually I think people either permanent residents or they have a second residence in the Cayman Islands located on the 7 Mile Beach. One of the first big ones to be built down there, and it was built by local Caymanians as well, called the Great House. And their board there have given some money to charities, those like that are helping to feed the people here in the Cayman Islands, and we want to say thank you for them deciding to donate. I think it might have been something like $50,000, and I'm sure that we're extremely grateful for that. But I wonder, in naming that place down there the Great House, whether or not that was just a slip of the tongue, and whether or they really meant the big house. Because that same location down there, I believe that people have complained about their stance in relation to people using the beach there and roping off areas and stuff like that. There may have been some confrontations down there as well. I just a thought, was that just a slip of the tongue or Freudian slip that they named it the Great House but really meant the big house? Because the big house in terms of slavery meant the plantation house, the big one where the master resided in. Doc, over to you.
I don't know. But those you talk about the beach. They only took advantage of what we gave them.
Mm-hmm.
We facilitated them coming here and bringing their money and building a house on the beach. What we did, we disenfranchised our own people and enfranchised them and gave them the privilege of owning the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our fault. That is a problem of economic advantage that we still carry on today. And like somebody called first, I think one of the first calls you had this morning was about ironwood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's just a continuation of all that. I would get the continuation of all that. That's what we do. And if you look at if you speak to psychiatrists and psychologists and people who have studied the aftermath of slavery, they can explain better than I what happens when people have been enslaved and they have not freed themselves. What happens that they carry on, and you have all kinds of studies like the Stockholm syndromes, and people are when people are kidnapped, and kept in
they start to sympathize with their captors at the end of the day. Yes, yeah,
and things like that. There's all kinds of science about that. But what I would just like to say that from the beginning, from the foundation of this country, racial discrimination and racial separation was one of the things that drove the system. And I want to talk about. I was with Malcolm. When Malcolm came, he was sent here to establish the first public school in Borden Town, and it was just after slavery. And when he came, the building that he was teaching in was rented by the government, and he decided to teach. And the black people who had got their freedom were so happy that a school was being put up to teach children, educate people, to send all their children there. And the former slave masters objected and said that he couldn't teach the black children and the white children together. And then he postulated that he would build a loft in the building, and he would send the black people up there, and he would then teach the white people downstairs, and then go up and teach the black people upstairs so that they couldn't see them. And then the former slave master said, well, if you do that, you have to charge them $6 a week. And of course, the black people didn't have any money. Because remember now, after slavery, after near 300 years of hard work, servitude, discrimination, savagery, they didn't get any money after the emancipation. It was the slave masters that got money for losing the slave labor, and so they didn't have any money to pay. And Malcolm said that he would not be a part of that system, and he left and went home. And it was for a long time that we didn't have a public school until when the Pantons came and the MacTaggart came and stuff, and then they started public schools in Georgetown and Prospect and those places.
Okay.
But I as a boy remember what happened here, like when the governor came once a year and he brought the Marines and the West Indian Regiment here, and they would have the marching and stuff, and then they would have the dances in the town hall. I remember what used to happen. They used to have a dance one night for the white people and a dance the next night for the colored people. And the reason why they didn't have them the same night because they only had one band in those days. They had Kitchen of Solomon and James Thomas used to play the music in those days, and so they didn't have two different bands. They couldn't have it.
And it was basically one location, which was was that the town hall then they used, or the courthouse?
They would have the old courthouse for the black people. Okay. And they would have the town hall for the white people. And they would give the rights to invite people to the church, because the church was the center of all social and communal activities, and they would give the church the right to invite people, and the church only invited white people to the white people dances that they would have the first night, and then they would have a dance to the black people the next night, and the sailors and the sailors that came ashore or the army people come through would go to the white people dance, and they would go to the black people dance too, but the black people dance couldn't go to the white people dance. And there was one man that caused that to cease in Cayman Islands, and if you go to the archives and read about that era, read about a man called Morris Andrew Gerard.
Gerard, yes.
He was a commissioner, and when they asked him, and they told him that they needed the money because the government was the one who patronized, who was the patron,
funded for the dances. Yes.
Yeah, they paid the money, and they told Gerard that they needed two sets of funds, one for them and one for us and one for them. And Gerard said, "Well, who is that?" And they said, "That's the white people." And then the colored people. We were not called blacks in those days. We were called the colored people of color, the colored people. And Gerard didn't say anything to them. So Gerard decided he is not going to have this separation continue, especially with government funds in the Cayman Islands. And Gerard went and made a deal with a woman called Miss Orrett Connor, which is Carida's mother that used to own Copper Kettle. And your uncle, Malachi Connor, Sky Blue, we used to call him, who that year had won the best man's contest in the Cayman Islands, because that's what black people used to have in those days. They used to have contests, quadrille contests, best man contests, and all that sort of stuff and things like that to enhance their social position in the society. And he arranged for them to get dressed and come out to the dance, and that he would come out and he would signal them to come into the dance when the dance got to a certain stage. And when the dance got to a certain stage, he went outside and brought your uncle Malachi Connor inside the dance, and Miss Orrett Connor, and he allowed Miss Orrett Connor to dance with he danced with Miss Orrett Connor and allowed Miss Malachi Connor to dance with Gerard's wife. And when the white people saw what was going on, they all left. They started leaving the dances, and Gerard stopped the music and said, "I cannot stop all you from leaving, but I'm going to say," and what Gerard said, "all of those who work for the government, and leave the dance, that they will not lose their jobs." And Mr. Arthur Borden was one of those people who was one of the highest paid men in the Cayman Islands at the time, owned the printing press, print all the government stationery, was the widest operator, was head of the Met Service, Caribbean Met Service, and all that sort of stuff. He left, and he never worked for the government since. Gerard was the one who broke the backs, who started to break the backs of racism in Cayman Islands. And then, of course, when the men start to go with Southwell, and this is for the person who wrote in about marrying white women. The men who started to go with Southwell, who were not able even to get a job in the white establishment, because in those days, black people couldn't work in those establishments. They couldn't work in Mary Store. If they work in Mary Store, they work on the truck park in the warehouse or unload the freight, but they couldn't work behind the counter. They couldn't exchange
handle money and stuff. Yeah.
They couldn't handle money. Black people couldn't handle money. So when they started to go out with National Bulk, and they went to Amsterdam, and they went to Norway and Denmark, and they went to Brazil, and they went to all these places, they could have any kind of women they wanted. They could have white women, colored women, women of color, all different kind of women. And so when they came back here, there was no big thing then, and came on. And so that was when the racism started to disappear. And when the white girls in Cayman who would be ostracized to marry a black man saw that these men were just as good as their brothers and uncles and fathers and stuff, that's when the segregation started to break down. But it was national bulk carriers, the men who went there, that finalized to break down the back of the men. So a lot of your callers and listeners do not understand. We have to integrate places like Beach Club and places like Tortuga Club. All of those places were for white people only. And I remember when they marched down
Seaview, all of those, yeah.
All of those places and so forth. And so people do not understand, or they don't understand, but they don't want to admit. And that's the reasons why we're still in this business, in this cross and this crisis that we have. Because for years we did not want to admit the frailty of slavery, the aftermath of slavery. And so today it took the murder of the descendants of a slave to wake up the world.
The whole world, yes.
And to change the world. And I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, Doc, I want to thank you very much, for joining me this morning again on short notice.
Thank you.
For what it is worth, I'm going to just put it out there. Bermuda, will be getting its first black governor and first female governor sometime in December of this year as well. It was just put out earlier this morning by Government House. My friend Christopher Famous sent it to me by WhatsApp, and it is now up on the Royal Gazette online newspaper. Her name is Rena, R-E-N-A, Lalgie. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Lalgie, Lalgie. So she will be Bermuda's first female, first black governor, for what it is worth. For those of you who want to thank the UK for what they're doing now, you get an opportunity to thank them for giving Bermuda their first black female governor. They have to make much larger steps than that, though. Much larger steps to be able to make up for what they did in the past, and I'm not sure if they can do that. But reparations would probably be a good step in that direction as well. Reparations may help in that regard. So Bermuda getting their first. Oh, by the way, Doc, you still there?
Yes, I'm still there.
I'm just curious. I see where yesterday they had this exercise up at Collier's Beach. Hurricane exercise with the helicopter and stuff like that. I wonder how many people at the NEOC and elsewhere remember, and I remember this because I was involved in government and very intricately involved in government after Hurricane Ivan. You couldn't cross Collier's Beach to get to Moritz Tortuga Club. From that point. The sand was piled up probably close to 6 feet high in that area. So if we got a hurricane coming from the east again and tidal waves like we got there, that is not going to be any staging ground, any landing ground for anything, because no one will be able to reach there. So the exercise that they're performing, they should be performing that somewhere inland in East End where a helicopter would be able to land, but they won't certainly be able to land up on Collier's Beach if we get something like Hurricane Ivan again.
Well, that shows you what two things: either the lack of knowledge, the lack of knowledge of the hurricane systems and how they affect the islands, or that the landing had some other ulterior motive.
Yeah, okay. Doc, you have a great weekend. I want to thank you very much. Because I've gone way over in time, I'm going to just say, folks, please stay safe. Follow the instructions in relation to COVID-19. Have a great weekend, and may God continue to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.
FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money.